Content Center presents Seaming Corian. In this video, you'll learn about customer expectations of how your seams will appear, proper preparation for making a seam, fitting sheets to make sure they align perfectly, critical cleaning procedures to follow on every seam you make, how to mix and apply Corian joint adhesive correctly, clamping procedures, the right way to give your seam the support it needs, and finishing techniques for seams. Seams are a critical step in almost every fabrication of Corian. Seamed undermount bowls, edge treatments, countertops, repairs, and the list goes on. When you do it right, it's easy to make inconspicuous seams. But to do it right, you need to start out right. First, let's talk definitions and expectations. When we're describing seams, forget the word invisible. Invisible means incapable of being seen. Remember the word inconspicuous. Inconspicuous means not readily noticeable. Always tell your customers they should expect inconspicuous seams and show a sample of what you can deliver 90% of the time. Then they won't be expecting something that's impossible for you to deliver. Now let's look at the key steps in making an inconspicuous seam every time. Start with a thorough inventory of the materials you'll need. Whether you're making a seam in the shop or in the field, the materials are essentially the same. Except for field seams, be sure to include materials for on-site dust control. Assure color match of the sheets to be joined. Be sure the sheets are the same size and thickness and have similar casting dates. Also, whenever possible, use the offset seam method to avoid seams in corners. Trial fit the pieces to determine the need for any adjustment in the joint area. If the edges of the seam are not parallel, use a template and router to make a mirror image cut in both sheets. First, position the two sheets to be seamed together using spacer blocks so there is a 3/8 inch or 10 millimeter gap. Clamp over this area a pre-made template with a slot that is at least 1/32 of an inch or 1 millimeter bigger than a 1 inch outside diameter or 25 millimeter template guide. Using a 1/2 inch or 12 millimeter double flute bit and a 1 inch or 25 millimeter template guide, make one pass to route both sheets at the same time, pushing the router from front to back. After the template is removed, push the sheets together and check for a perfect fit. These shop-routed edges must touch when dry fitting or the seam will be noticeable. If any gap between the sheets is greater than 5 mils, repeat the process. The result should be a perfectly parallel mirror image seam. An alternative technique is to route a matching pattern on the two sheets to be joined. Several tool manufacturers offer a system to accomplish this. This technique helps align the sheets being joined. Regardless of the technique used, the edges of both pieces must be completely smooth. The best way to achieve this is with a router. Cleaning the pieces to be joined is absolutely essential for a clean seam. Because Corian is translucent, fingerprints, dust, or marks of any kind will show through, such as these pencil marks. To clean edges thoroughly, it's best to use a clean white cloth and denatured alcohol. Do not use colored cloths or pattern-printed paper towels. They can leave a color tinge that can show through. Also, don't use rubbing alcohol, lacquer thinner, or other solvent on Corian. For stubborn stains, you may want to clean them with a Scotch-Brite pad. Double check that the edges and bottom of the sheet are completely clean and smooth. Always rub thoroughly with denatured alcohol until all marks and smudges have completely disappeared. This is extremely important. Now you're ready to adhere the pieces. Position the pieces so there's a 1/16 to 1/8 of an inch gap, or 1.5 to 3 millimeters. Create dams with aluminum tape on the front edge and rear edges of the seam. This will help assure that the joint adhesive will completely fill the joint. And in field seams, it will protect any cabinetry or fixtures below. Using hot melt glue, attach wooden blocks on either side of the seam. Now it's time to mix and apply the joint adhesive. Complete instructions are included in each adhesive kit. It's critical that you follow the instructions to the letter. Whenever possible, let the adhesive reach room temperature prior to mixing. Hold the clear plastic tube upside down to assure there's enough component to support the chemical reaction. If the level of component doesn't reach the top of the threaded area, return the packet to your distributor and use a new one. Trim the tip of the clear